The red Georgian soil is a hallmark of Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. For decades, this racetrack has put on some of the most spectacular sports car racing in North America, and tonight is no different. For round 10 of the 2020 SCRS Ferrari Challenge, we head to this famous 2.5-mile road course to continue our championship season. With only 4 rounds remaining, championship points are beginning to solidify, and hopes for a title dwindling for some. Welcome to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Finian D'Acuna. We enter round number 10 of the 2020 SCRS Ferrari Challenge season at one of the most famous road courses in North America, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, a beautiful racetrack in Braselton, Georgia, just in the north side of the state, and we're just about ready to go racing for 3 rounds of action tonight. 2 15-minute races followed by a 20-minute finale to end round number 10. We'll head down to the racetrack for qualifying here in just a moment. But Finian, you looks like you got points pulled up, and I want to ask you how we're doing. We only have 4 rounds left after this race. How are things looking for most of the field?
Yeah, it's effectively looking to be a battle between Hefner and Kurt Krum for your title. These guys have been constantly going back and forth between each other.
Okay, it's been a long time since I opened that graphic, and sorry, Finian.
It's fine.
Tom was better looking, but
but yeah, no, so essentially it's 6 points separated between Kurt Krum and Hefner. Duking out in the championship, Hefner with the advantage, but again, with just a little bit of a mistake, that can quickly turn the tide of the battle between them for the championship.
So qualifying is underway in this racetrack. We're going to take a look at it here in just a second, Finian. It's very, very fast. It's very windy, has lots of elevation change. Here is a look at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. And around this facility, you're going to start with a head towards turn number 1. That's that right-hander on the right side of the screen. You head in here pretty much top of 5th gear and then maybe downshift into 4th. You're going to aim for the curb on the inside lane. Don't clip it because it's a tall one. Track out as you head up through a blind left. That's turn number 2. A right-hander, turn 3, jump at a curb. Then you head downhill through turns 4 and 5. Those are the S's. And at the exit of turn 5, it's a sharp left-hander. It leads you out. Track edge all the way over the curbs, almost into the gravel trap, into a double right-hander, 6 and 7.
Yeah, and then after you're getting out of 7, you got to make sure you get a good run through that corner on exit, because then you're setting up for the long straightaway. Well, it has turns in the middle of it, but it's effectively a straightaway through turns 8 and 9, and then into turn 10A, and then that's going to be a heavy braking zone. A lot of passing going to be done there as guys are getting runs on one another down through 10B. Turn 11, back to turn 12. Got to make sure you keep it on the pavement. Don't track out into the grass. You can find yourself in the wall if you do so, but that will wrap up a lap at Road Atlanta.
This is one of those racetracks that will punish you for stepping over the limit. And how will it do that? Well, here is a look from the starter cam. This is at the exit, of turn number 12. And you'll see there's only a couple car widths of space between the edge of the curb and a massive 12-foot tall concrete wall.
And it really depends on how you're going to hit, if you hit the curbing through turn 12 there, you can see in the middle of the screen. If you hit that the wrong way, it's going to bounce the car off, potentially into that grass. So you got to be very careful, especially in the opening laps when the tires are cold. Once you start getting heat into it, it's not that big of a problem. When you're battling guys side by side on colder tires, it can be very sketchy through that section.
So qualifying is underway here, and at the top of the board right now, it's Jake Johansson by just under 0.2 of a second. We're going to ride on board here for a minute with Brian Sohn, the number 03, as he begins the lap at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, up the hill for the first time, make that left-hander into turn 2, and then a sharp crest into turn 3. Big bobble for the 03, and off track he goes. And this is actually one of the better places to lose control of your car. I'd much rather have it there than anywhere else on course. Let's find someone else. How about Johnny Bell right on board here?
72 car for Attrition Racing. He's going to head through turn 3, up and straight over the curbs.
Then down the hill through the S's, and this is like threading a needle between the curbing on the driver's right and driver's left. Big understeer there for the 72. One of the interesting things that these drivers will have to deal with tonight, Finian, full fuel load in these cars. There was an error in the practice session earlier in the weekend. To make it fair for everybody, it was set to a full fuel load. So everyone in these cars driving with a maximum load of fuel in this car, it's going to make it significantly heavier than it would otherwise be. So that's going to be a really interesting topic to follow throughout the night, how much understeer that's going to introduce into these GT348 platforms. A couple drivers in this field, new liveries on board. How about the 119 car of Justin Johansson? A beautiful looking WeatherTech Ferrari as he heads down through 10A and 10B.
And it's, I believe, the first start for the 119 of Justin Johansson. Jake Johansson, I assume there's a relation there between them. And the 06, he has been here already for, I believe, 2 rounds. At Laguna Seca, and I think also Catalunya was where he first made his start. So he's done pretty well so far. The 06, he's up in third. For the 119, as we put on screen, that WeatherTech car is up in 13th.
And here is the 06 car, the Grip Packs Engineering car. So he's going to let on by, I think that was one of the bombshell cars. It was Kurt Krum. His season has been very up and down so far. A couple penalties here, but he's also had a lot of race wins and a lot of top 5, top 10 runs, and already second in qualifying. Going to be one of the drivers to beat tonight. But also here is Caden Bin in the 23.
Yeah, and Caden Bin really, you know, he would be very much in that championship fight, if not leading that championship fight, if he's been here for more races. Again, with the drops not completely factored, not sure where this 23 will be put at the moment. But I really think it's still between Kurt Krum and Hefner, just due to Bin missing a couple rounds. But the 23 car is definitely still quick when he's been out here on track. And also, if you guys parked up in that access road in turn 3.
Trying to see, one of them is Johnny Bell in the 72. The other is the 13 car, it looks like, of Teague Algae. So they're parked over here. Well, we're going to head on down and pick up the 87 of Kurt Krum again as he heads out of turn number 7 onto the back straightaway here. And actually, this is heading into turn 6, rather, as he comes in. And again, this is a double right-hander, and this turn number 7 that he's coming up to right now, the most important corner on this entire facility. Got to get this right to get a run onto one of the longest straightaways in North American racing.
Is that Hefner behind, or is that one of the other?
It sure is Zach Hefner, and these two have had their fair share of run-ins this season, and their second and fourth will be lined up nose to tail as they come to the start here in just a couple minutes.
See, this is a flyer for Hefner. I believe it is.
Let's have a look at his sector times. Yes, it is a quick lap. Let's right on board down the several story drop down through turns 11 and 12. Comes across the line. It'll be a 1:21.2, and that'll only be good enough to keep him where he is. His best time was a 1:19.6, so no improvement for Hefner that time. Oh, the Kurt Krum goes off in turn number 1. And here's Benjamin Pagula in the number 14, another new name here this week, currently 15th in qualifying, and a little bit wide into turn 6, out into the grass.
I was talking about catching grass at a track like this, considering it's at very many parts on the outside of the pavement. You know, you can just clip it just a little bit. When these guys are on load, especially in the S's here, it can send their car around in very, very quickly. So want to keep off of it as much as you can, and even off of turn 5 too, avoiding the gravel trap there. That's also very tempting to just run really wide in that corner, but again, catching the gravel. Even that's
Teague Algae.
I just went flying sideways through there.
This is going to be a trouble spot again. The exit of 5, it's extraordinarily bumpy over that curb, but you have to use at least some of it if you want to carry all the speed possible out of that corner. So Teague Algae has had some problems. He'll get back rolling there. Still struggling to get back rolling. Whoa, that was really nice. One of the attrition racing cars, couple of attrition racing cars coming over the crest of the hill. I'm still not confident he's out of the... Oh, man.
There we go.
There's Robert Rattray in the number 33 car. He's had some success this season. And is also one of the pro category drivers. Again, 2 categories of racers in this field. And you look on the top of your screen, the drivers with the yellow numbers are your pros. The drivers with the white numbers are your AMs. You see Johansson and Meintz slotting themselves in 3rd and 4th. It's another name that we haven't heard in SCRS in a very long time. Darwin Meintz making his return to iRacing action in the SCRS Ferrari Challenge. Currently sits 4th right now.
You see him compete in the Redendo Sports Car Challenge in the TCR category. He's done really well there. Interesting seeing him is back on form in this series as well. Currently 4th on the charts in that 24 machine.
Teague Algae has yet to lay down a lap, and he's only going to have one attempt at it here. Has not yet recorded a time, and there's 25 cars here tonight. If you start at the back of the field, that's going to be a lot of positions to overcome. However, remember our format, 3 races, 15, 15, 20. Second race, invert the top 10. Third race, invert the top 20. So you get a chance to kind of make up for a bad night, but Algae's got to nail this lap.
Yeah, and again, this is the last chance he's got at making a time. Whoa, almost catches the grass there heading through turn 2.
Cautious into 3, so he'll have to make up some of this time. There's Brian Sona drivers left.
And considering that this is the only chance he's going to get, I would go maybe just dial back just a little bit just to make sure you get this lap in. You're going to be starting way in the back, you know. Starting 20th is better than starting 25th, which is where he's currently scheduled to start.
And again, if you want to be a part of the invert, you got to get yourself into at least 10th spot. That would take a 15-car increase if he starts where he is right now. So coming out of turn number 7, he'll get a run onto the straightaway. And taking a look at the sector time, it's on par right now for about a 1:20. That would put him in the middle of the field. So as he comes across the line for Sector 2, we'll see where it puts him. That sector line coming up here in just a moment. He heads down the hill. There's a sector 27.6. Across the line. Uh-oh, didn't get to finish the lap, which is weird. I thought that if it was open qualifying, you'd get a little extra
Unless
time.
he had an off that we didn't catch. I did see him get a little bit sketchy going through turn 2.
I don't think it records the sector if he had an off, so I think that way... Either way, he'll be starting dead last P25 as we grid up for the first race of the night in our 3-race adventure at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
That might have been already the excess time that we're looking at. I'm just saying
could have been. I wasn't paying close enough attention to know. So
neither was I, so I think that caught us both off guard.
So in just a moment, we'll line up for the start here. Weather is cool as always. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised it's this cool. It is about 6 p.m. here in Braselton, Georgia. 68-degree ambient temp. That's mighty cool for this area of Georgia. Track surface 72. Going to be a lot of grip out there to be had. 15 minutes is about 12 laps around this facility. And thanks again for joining us for SCRS Ferrari Challenge round number 10 of the 2020 season. We want to thank Penguin RC Simulation for sponsoring this series. They provide high-end sim racing equipment. They've got some really nicely done sim racing wheels, paddle shifters, all sorts of things you might want to add attached to your sim rigs. Make sure you support Penguin RC Simulation and check out the link in the video description. All right, so about ready to grid up and go racing, and taking a look at the field. 25 car strong. I've been really impressed with the field sizes lately. Put on some really good racing. At Catalunya, Barcelona a few weeks ago, we had some really solid, clean racing with one big crash in the final race of the night. Your predictions for this one? I think we're going to see this go pretty green as long as we get through turn 5 on lap 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, really, I think it's all going to come down to getting through the entirety of lap 1, even, regarding, from first lap passes down in turn 10 once again, because guys are still going to be pretty close. Obviously, the closest they're going to be all race to majority of the other guys around them. So, see some big moves happen down in turn 10, maybe an incident there. But once you get past that first lap, I think, for the most part, pretty good.
All right, starting lineup is going to roll along the bottom of the screen, but it's Caden Ben and Kurt Crum on the front row in the 23 and 87. Ben and Bombshell in first and second.
And then back in 06 is Jake Johansson in third. Next to him, Darwin Mines returning to the series, going to start off in fourth.
Back in row number 3, it'll start fifth. That's Zachary Hefner's 51 out of Ohio. Justin Johansson in the 119, brand new to the series, starts sixth.
Back in 7th place is going to be Eric Mickey in the 88, starting in 7th. And the next to him in 8th, Nicholas Morelli in the 714. Going to line up on the outside.
Back in row number 5, Drew Lidke in the 21 out of Canada. He starts in 9th place. Robert Rattray, one of the pro drivers, starts in 10th in the 33.
Isaac Snyder in the 333 is going to line up on the inside in 11th. Next to him, Odise Adams Jr. in 12th in the 22 car.
In 13th, Brian Stone, the Penguin RC Simulation 03 out of California, starts in P13. And in Christian Oss in the 157, starts 14th.
Back in 15th, Jonathan Rodriguez is going to be starting in the 27 car. Next to him in 16th, Brian Chabelski in 12th.
I think you meant 16th. Jim Benson starts 17th in the 19 car. Michael Bolden in the 18th out of the in the 18th. Well, this is a cluster.
Yeah, it really is. Thomas Cooper is starting in 19th in the 584 next to him. Benjamin Pagula in 20th out next to him.
21st, Ben Shout in the 66 out of Michigan. Johnny Bell in the Attrition Racing 72 starts 22nd.
Back in 23rd, it's going to be Terry Newmaster in the 000 car next to Steve Bunting in 24th in the 83. And then rounding out your grid, wasn't able to get a time on time for qualifying. It's the 13 of T. Gallagher rounding out your field.
Out of Illinois is T. Gallagher as we head down a very, very long back straightaway here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. You'll see speeds well over 160, maybe even 170 miles an hour in the slipstream here. The trouble spot is going to be turn 10A tonight. This is the primary passing zone, one of the hardest braking zones. The track falls away from you as soon as you compress right here at this white line. Slam on the binders, get that ABS working, turn in, hope you don't miss it, because 10B, very important corner, get you lined up for the front straight. Cresting the hill in turn number 11, SCRS Ferrari challenges in its 10th round of the 2020 season. We head down the hill now through turn number 12. Caden Ben's going to bring us to the green. Green flag flies. We're racing at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. So far, so good. Field nice and even keeled into turn number 3. There's a car off. I think that's the new driver. That's Benjamin Pagula in the number 14. He's had an off at the top of the hill. We're going to stay up front, though, because so far the rest of the field has had no problems.
Yeah, looking at it, turn 5 now. For the most part, it seems like everyone else has gone. Whoa, saw a big bobble from Christian Oast through turn 5. Was able to keep it underway. And here we see now Hafner and Johansson side by side. This battle going on for 4th.
And behind him, you saw Justin Johansson, a big slide at a turn number 5, get up on the edge of the curb and slid backwards some. But now he's moved his way up into, or back into 7th spot, right behind Eric Mickey in the 88 Bombshell car. Here's Drew Lidke following a fight for 8th place. Morelli in the 714 Attrition Racing car, Robert Rattray in the 33.
Rattray trying to make a move on Morelli, now duking it out for that 8th place spot. Down deep into the brakes through turn 10A for the first time.
And side by side for Morelli and Rattray, pass complete, or at least an attempt failed for the 33 as he come over the crest of the hill to complete lap number 1. So far, so good. Only casualty, Pagula at the top of turn 3, but he's still rolling out there as we complete our first lap.
Kirkrum trying to keep pace with Caden Bidden, made a huge amount of time through turn 1 to get back to that 23.
And a big jump for the 23 car over the curb. You see Crum miss the apex a little bit. Everyone else behind him, very clean and green so far. We haven't seen any car-to-car contact as we head down the hill for the second time.
That's Snyder in the 333 now, looking at Jim Benson in the 19, currently running in 17th place.
New livery on the car this week for him, and haven't gotten a really good look at this. The old Ironsides logo on the side of that car, Motul and Pirelli on the nose. As he heads down into turn 6 with Michael Bolden hot in chase, and right in front of him, Jonathan Rodriguez. Benjamin Pagula has hit pit lane. Damage to that car might be too extreme for him to continue in the first race of the night.
Yeah, he hit that wall pretty hard on that right side, and, you know, it's going to definitely, the left side of the car, so unfortunately it's going to be too much for him to continue. Now side by side is Rattray Morelli again. And here comes Lidke in behind in that 21 car. He's potentially looking at trying to pick up the pieces from this battle.
And again, Morelli's able to hang on, but he leaves space for Rattray. Big bobble through 10B, but hangs on to it, so he'll have to try this a third time. His third time the charm for the 33 car.
Potentially, although again, with the way they've been battling, it's slowed them down quite a bit into the clutches of Lidke and even Snyder in behind. So they're just kind of waiting to see how this battle goes on ahead. Potentially, if Rattray makes a mistake, he can lose 2 spots.
Oh, off wide is somebody. It's Morelli in the 714. Completely missed the apex of turn number 1. Just got in here a little bit hot and way hot, almost like he completely missed his braking marker and went sailing off the track. Falls all the way down to 17th, might even lose another spot to teammate Michael Bolden.
Yeah, it's not gone well for Morelli from 8th to 17th. Kind of kicking himself after looking for a really good, really good finish. And even thinking about the invert as well, he's looking at taking third place start in the next race. So it's not going to be good for him. Not a good start for the night.
Eric Mickey started this race in 7th. He's gained 1 spot into 6th, but now is chasing down Jake Johansson in the Grip Packs Engineering 06 car. And the slipstream here, Finian, going to be a big one. Well over 150. We'll see if he can break 160 into the braking zone. Here he comes, 160, 165, 167 into the brakes hard into 10A on the inside lane. He's got to back out and give Johansson the corner, not in deep enough. And the 06 will hang on for now.
He's in a Johansson sandwich. He's got Jake ahead of him and Justin in behind. The 119, that WeatherTech car has been moving up quite a bit.
And after his slip up in the first couple of corners, he dropped to 7th, has stayed there ever since. Deeper in the field, how about Jim Benson hanging on right behind him? Rodriguez and Morelli fighting for 16th spot. We know Morelli's got a fast car. He was way up the grid earlier. It was a slip a lap ago that put him down in the order.
Now he's got a lot of work cut out for him, trying to get around his teammate now. Ooh, they almost made contact out of turn 1.
A little bit more room given, so Bolden will let Morelli back on by now into turn 3. Nice line for Morelli, gonna make up some time. Drew Lidke's gone off, and this is at the exit of turn 3. That's gonna be a bad spot for him to be sitting. Oh, up the road, Zachary Hefner's around at the exit of 5.
Oh, that's big. Our championship leader around, doesn't look like he's collected any damage, might have just gotten loose out of turn 5.
That looks like he's okay, but let's see how he got into this position. Again, we've been seeing drivers kind of playing with the exit at turn 5 a lot because they're trying to gain every little bit that they can. Right here, tracks out, big bump right there, bam, and spins out. Well, let's also go back and take a look at how the 21 car of Lidke found his way into the dirt. Might have been, he slipped wide on entrance to 3.
Yeah, I think that's just, the way in the back, just slipping around too much.
And then he's going to try to come back on course right here. And traction control gets him, and he spins around, catches the concrete. So a little bit of attrition for some of the non-attrition racing cars. As we head back up to the front, Caden Bin continues to lead with 9.5 minutes left in this race. Kurt Crum, though, keeping him honest.
Yeah, I think for Kurt Crum right now, I think just finish where you are. Don't try to push or do anything too crazy because you're looking at gaining quite a few points over Hefner, who all the way back in 21st.
A great battle for fourth right now between Johansson, Eric Mickey, and the other Johansson, the new driver to the series, Justin, in the WeatherTech Ferrari. Look at this onboard from Jake as we head down into 5. Aggressive run in, aggressive run out, pulls away a little bit, but now Eric Mickey's got the slipstream.
Yeah, this is going to be the hard thing, is just trying to break away from that slipstream from the guys in behind. You can do all you want on the rest of the lap, but coming through 6 and then out of 7, this straightaway is really going to be where Crum and even Justin Johansson's going to be able to make up some time and potentially try to fight this 0-6 for 4th.
A good run onto the back straight for Justin Johansson. He's also got Robert Rattray in behind, so a 4-car train. And they're a couple seconds behind Darwin Mites, that red, blue, and white car up the road.
I was going to say, I'm curious to see what the lap times are looking this lap. I think they might be making some decent time on Mines.
Into the braking zone for 10A, all kind of accordioning together.
And Mines really slow, actually. Here comes Jake Johansson up ahead, going side by side.
Oh, damage to the 24 car.
Oh,
Mites.
yeah.
Big damage.
Oh, and going to hold up Justin.
I'm not sure where he got that. It had to be a last lap. A 125 was what he ran.
I'm almost curious and just kind of rewinding just to see where he got that from. That's a pretty solid hit.
Oh, I think we found it already at the exit of 7, I think it is. Or no, this is at the exit of 5, was it?
Yeah.
Right on board. Exit of 5 right here, bounces. Right there, catches the curb and just smacks the wall. Be big damage for him. Nicholas Morelli has also had an issue just now. This is big damage for the 714 on the middle of the front straightaway. Here's a look, and he had some internet connectivity problems, so right there. Oh, just got in the grass and tank slapped it around.
Oh.
We jump back up because we've seen a couple slip and slides. Johansson's backed up. Rattray back here as well. It's getting rowdy for 5th spot.
Yeah, they lost guys up ahead because they were in behind Mines. He was slow through the first sector of the track. Here comes Rattray side by side with a WeatherTech machine.
And in behind them, Isaac Snyder's 333 getting around Mites as well as Brian Sohn in the 03. Pass for position. Whoa! There goes Snyder. Too much brake, spins the car around. There's Nate Little Donut. He'll get back rolling, and he'll probably lose a top 10 position, but still in the running at the very least. The pass for 3rd on in turn number 1 to the inside goes Eric Mickey. Pass complete. Well done.
Yeah, was really leaning on him there on entry. I was amazed that they didn't involve him to contact, but the 06 Johansson kept himself to the left as much as he could.
Yeah, I think Johansson did a good job allowing Mickey to get down there without contact, as you mentioned, just leaving just enough space.
Yeah, and Mickey with an aggressive move is going to
get no, Caden Bin!
Oh, man, and our leader in the wall.
And he's
out of turn 5, so turn 5 claiming quite a few cars already in this race, and a lot of our leaders.
Oh, more!
Well.
Justin Johansson in behind.
Oh, man. Someone dropping oil there.
It looks like it.
Everyone.
Well, now that there's a standing yellow flag here, this is going to be making everyone panic as they exit the corner. But for both our race leader and for one of the drivers inside the top 10, trouble here. Caden Bin, very predictable issue. We've seen this happen with a couple drivers tonight. Exits the corner and is going to slam this curb. There's a big bump right at the end, right there. And he catches it and locks it down. And this is so frustrating as a driver because if you can lock the brakes, it might save you. But the ABS kicks in and just lets you roll straight off the track.
Yeah, the aids are not good for when you're trying to save the car. If anything, they're hurting you more. So it's really tough. It's a help and it's also a curse. But for Ben, actually not going to drop too terribly far. It's going to be back in 6th. So it could be a lot worse.
Over Brian Sohn.
Yeah, he's looking out for 5th. Also, Brian Sohn, great run for him in the 03. He's sitting in 5th. Then tries to have a look up the inside here into turn 1.
And Brian Sohn will let him right on by. For Kurt Crum, it's a fairy tale race right now with 5 minutes left, an 8-second lead.
And looking at Hefner, Hefner's climbed his way back up to 16th in his 51 machine. Trying to just make back points because Kurt Crum looking to have a really solid day. Same thing with Eric Mickey as well as the 06 Jake Johansson.
Actually see at the exit at turn 5, the rubber marks leading off into the wall. So I think that's something that we've already learned between race 1 and race 2 and 3 is we're going to see a lot more drivers being very careful at the exit of 5, having a battle for 8th. Miles Chamelski Odyssey Adams Jr. and Jonathan Rodriguez all together with Benson and Snyder at the back of this group. This is a great fight back here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that Mike's is trying to hold as many guys in behind him as possible.
Here's Zachary Hefner's on board.
Yeah, he's created quite a train here as we look at Hefner, and Hefner is enjoying this because this is a chance for him to get quite a few spots, so he's running out of time.
Ben Shout throwing a block right, block left, and now Hefner sees a hole open to the left side of the racetrack. He'll go on through as up the road. Great side-by-side battles for position, and here comes the 24 back on the inside.
Oh, and Hefner in behind, almost in the grass.
Oh, Snyder's in way deep, so is Hefner.
Oh, and the 66 of Shout around now to turn 10A, and I think there's some more smoke as well.
Yeah, Robert Rattray had an issue. He's dropped all the way back to 7th now, dropped a few positions at corner exit.
Oh, in behind a car.
Oh, hard crash! Darwin Mite's terrible flip on the front straightaway, and the 333 of Snyder also out. Huge crash in turn 12 here at Road Atlanta with 3.5 minutes to go.
Wow, what a crash.
That was probably the most violent accident I think I've ever seen here. Mine's spins was their contact with Rodriguez made. Wow. As they were coming down the hill, was their contact?
He might have just gotten loose. He's got loose.
Oh yeah, just already out of control.
That car was already broken.
And right here, he's going to slide back across the track. Snyder nowhere to go. Oh, the impact for Snyder. Wow. Okay, that he caught. There was. Oh, Hefner got damaged from that. He got hit on the roof.
He might have gotten away with it.
I hope
might
so.
have been. Yeah, car looks fine.
The antenna's still there, so it must be fine. Jim Benson in the 19 car. This is at the exit of turn 7. He was real slow for a moment, but got back rolling. 2 minutes and 53 seconds left in this race. We've seen some good battles and a lot of wild action. Here's Rattray, some damage on the right front of that car, trying to work back by Christian Olsen, the 157.
Yeah, we're still not done yet looking at this great battle all the way back from, there you see 4th place, Caden Bin leading this little group that it's zone, then Christian Olsen 6th, and Rattray your top 7.
Smoke in turn 1. Oh, that's probably down in the pit lane, actually. But Brian Sohn having a really solid night. His teammate doesn't look like he is here tonight. That would be Peter Vostrel's 404 machine with the I flag colors on board. So looks like he is absent this evening, but Brian Sohn carrying the Penguin RC colors to a top 5 running position as they stand. Robert Rattray trying to grab some spots here. But out front, Kurt Crum leading this race. Not a care in the world.
Yeah, he's got 8.5 seconds over his own teammate Eric Mickey in the 88. So these two guys doing a really solid job this race.
And there is 4th place Caden Bin, then 5th Sohn.
And here's it. Oh, and look who's in 10th. Hefner is, after a great job clawing his way back through the field, just gotten around Rodriguez for that 10th spot, and that's going to mean if he stays here, he might try to catch Adams Jr. and Chabelski up ahead.
He dropped all the way down to almost 20th.
He was 21st, yeah.
Wow.
He was as low as 21st. He's got his way all the way back to 10th, so he'll be starting on the pole in race 2. Maybe 2nd or 3rd, but looking really well as long as he doesn't make another mistake.
Yeah, he's lapping about 0.3 of a second a lap faster than Odyssey Adams Jr. In front of him, Robert Rattray around again. In trouble for the 33, nose first into the concrete at the exit of 10B. And this is again one of those accidents that you kind of know exactly how it happens, and we'll take a look. Probably caught too much curb on entry or too hot in right there. Had to slow up. Seen this accident a couple of times.
I was gonna say that's been catching quite a few guys off. Just they send them to the corner too hard, or some driver ahead of them gets in a little bit slower than they would expect, and they're not able to compensate. So we're trying to pull into the pits. Hopefully we'll see him back for race 2. Wow,
that's it. Shout. Oh, there's gonna be a touch there. These two maybe not thrilled with each other by the looks of it. And in behind him, there's Thomas Cooper. Is that Thomas Cooper in the 584?
I think, no, it is not.
It's not. It's another attrition racing car. Trying to see which one it is.
Morelli, I think.
You're right. I hear a car spinning and sliding. I didn't see who it was. Brian Chabelski? No, he's on a different part of the track.
I think someone's just letting it hang out.
Don't recommend. Oh, there is a car off. That is Thomas Cooper. That happened after we pulled away. 20 seconds left in this race. We'll be coming to the white flag for our leader, Kurt Crum, next time through. This is the white flag lap one more time around in race number 1 of the night.
Yeah, got a massive lead straightaway, at least the length of the front straightaway between himself and Eric Mickey. Looking back at Johnny Bell, he's got Johansson in behind.
And look at the exhaust distorting the image of the 119 in behind. Finally can turn that setting on, by the way, as we head into turn 10A. For Justin Johansson, he'll go on through on the bottom. Big cut over the curb on the inside lane, and right behind him, Drew Lidke.
Yeah, we're going to to set up the corner here as they come to take the white flag.
Bit of a lift through turn 12 just to set the car up, and now it's 1 lap to go for these drivers. At the front of the field, Kurt Crum in the Bombshell Racing car has been pretty much flawless tonight. But he's going to have 2 more races to kind of stand on top of this throne, and he still has a lot of points left to catch up to Hefner, I believe.
No, is it closer? He's decently close. He's only 6 points in behind Hefner.
Okay, so it's going to be pretty. Yeah. We're basically going to trade spots then. So this is going to be basically leaders of the championships battling back and forth as we head throughout this night. So Kurt Crum's going to come over the crest of turn 11 and 12 over the bridge and down to the checkered flag. Kurt Crum, the Bombshell Racing Team car, will be victorious in race 1.
Yeah, really wide on the entry of the corner. Took some grass as well. There you see now Eric Mickey the idiot. He comes out of the final turn to collect the checkered flag. And for Drew Lidke, 21.
It's off in turn 7, I think.
Yeah. 7. Not sure what exactly is happening to this one.
There was a touch, maybe. Right here. Was it Shout in the 66? Yeah. Gets into him. Sends him for a loop. Can-Am car into the wall at the exit of turns 6 and 7. So trouble there for some drivers as the rest of the field comes on through. We'll look from high above here because we're...
Bin's dropping down the order.
It's because it's heat racing.
Okay.
There is your unofficial race results. Kurt Crum at the top of the board. Eric Mickey, Jake Johansson, Caden Bin, Brian Sohn, your top 5. We re-rack him, restack him for a second go. Another 15-minute race. The top 10 inversion. Jonathan Rodriguez will start on the pole. It'll be, I didn't see who was going to start second. It probably should have been the Justin Johansson car. But we'll take a look here in just a minute, and we'll go back over it.
Yeah, and still really amazed on how Hefner was able to claw his way back from 21st up into 8th. So really solid performance from that 51 machine. Again, he's going to lose on some points, but the gain could have been a lot more for Kurt Crum. I think he was kind of hoping that Hefner wouldn't claw his way back, especially inside the top 10.
Odyssey Adams Jr. will be starting on the outside of the front row. Zach Hefner will start in 3rd for this next race.
I think definitely that 51 is the car to watch for potentially winning this race. It's got some solid speed. Obviously made that mistake down to turn 5. If he's learned from his mistakes, which I think he has, just going out wide over those curves, he's looking at a really solid race.
So for the second race tonight, we're going to have a big shakeup here as the top 10 get inverted, and we'll take a look at the weather. Has it changed at all? Not really. Same weather conditions for race number 2. To get lined up for our second of 3. So what we saw in race 1, things started relatively calm, but they got progressively more chaotic throughout the race. What are we expecting for race 2?
I think race 1 was a solid learning experience for these guys. I think a lot of the issues too were not even just between drivers, like driver on driver incidents. It was just driver on track incidents. With especially coming out at turn 5, and then also we saw a few incidents down in turn 10A with guys just coming in at different speeds and not able to slow down in time.
Here's another look here at the track map that we've been working with tonight. The exit at turn 5 is at the bottom of the hill there in the middle of your screen. That left-hander, you're under compression. You come through that corner, and the exit at turn 5 is actually uphill, and you come up over a crest, and you're already on the curb, so you come up over the crest, you hit that curb, there's a big bump right in the middle of it, bam, off the track you go. It's so hard to get that right. And then the other trouble spot we've been seeing is actually turn 10A. These mid-engine platforms will spin like a top if you get them unstable.
Yeah, we did see that big wreck in turn 12, but that really, I'm kind of surprised that hasn't claimed more lives than we saw with more cars, I should say specifically.
That's it's not the 90s, it's 2020, and they've got a pretty good safety record.
And that was with Darwin Mines. That was really with Darwin Mines. His car was already broken, so him just trying to go through the corner full speed was not going to happen. He's actually, speaking of the 24, he's going to be starting in 24th.
One of the few racetracks that I've had the pleasure of visiting in the real world, and I don't think anything really prepares you for the turn 12 drop. When you first see this, it is a crazy incline. And also, we never actually really got to investigate the backside of the course, like turn 6 and 7. But there was a drift pad over here, and they had a rallycross car, that Fiesta that they were drifting around. We never got a chance to go look up there. So maybe if Grid Life ever goes back, we'll get a chance to head out there and do that again. But we did get to go around the track in a 460 horsepower Dodge Challenger Scat Pack, which was very enjoyable. I think it topped out like 150, mid 150s on the back straight.
Yeah, I don't know. Luke was just hauling it down these straightaways, and also was driving like a madman through the S's. So that was really fun.
He was laughing.
Yeah, he was.
He scared me because a man like that laughing that way.
I was recording on my phone, and the windows were down. I was scared of my phone flying out the window just due to my body just being thrown about in the car.
Luke is a character, and I think the funny thing is he didn't own that car. That was I think it was a Bilstein car.
Yeah.
Or there's a team name for it, I think, but he didn't own it. So you're out there, he's laughing, sliding the thing around, jumping curbs. He didn't know the car. He was thrashing it and having a blast, and I was having a blast. You were having a blast. I wish we could do that again. But coming out of turn 10A, 10B, time to go racing for the second race of the night. Again, we'll have one more after this, or we'll conclude this evening. Pace car is off as we head down the hill in turn number 12. Green flag in the starter's hands, green flag in the air. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta SCRS Ferrari Challenge, round 10, race 2.
Oh, already at the start, Isaac Snyder in the 333 is going to go around in turn 12. No one else going to be collected. Going to get some damage in the rear of that car, but everyone else through turn 1 okay, but here's the tricky part, turn 3.
Hafner on the outside, going to be a great opportunity for him to take the lead away from Rodriguez. Going to get pushed wide, nail all the cones as they head down the hill, and cars scattering to try to miss him as the cones go flying over the fence into the crowd as we head down towards turn 5 for the first time.
Yeah, there's no other incidents really other than Snyder as they make their way now on through turn 5. Oh,
there they go!
2 cars around.
This is going to be a big mess, and 4, 5, 6 cars, and a huge pile up. Everybody's in it on the back straightaway. Wow. Massive crash. Cars flipping violently everywhere.
The cones are flying as much as the cars are flying as much as the cones were.
What a mess.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest accident. Remember they had a massive accident at Catalunya.
No, this was about 10 times the size of that.
This was a lot worse than that. That claimed a lot of cars in that. Trying to see who made it through the smoke okay.
I think that took out at least half the field. Take a look at the timing and scoring. 11th to 25th recorded is out.
Not surprising there.
I think we'll have that kind of adjust as we come on through start-finish line. 13 minutes remaining, and it feels like we're only going to have about half the field, at least in a raceable state. Hafner comes on through. There goes another one. Odyssey Adams Jr. sliding out of 12 and back across the racetrack. He's going to try to hold it right across in front of Justin Johansson.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing, too. You can try to hold the brakes all you want, but the ABS is going to prevent you from locking the thing down. So you're kind of just at the mercy of just steering the car as it starts to slow down. A massive accident there. Let's check out. And yeah, just to give you an idea, remember, Darwin Mines started back in 24th. He's up in 6th.
Well, let's ride on board with him last lap. I want to see what his view was as he came out of turn number 5. I have to imagine it was quite the view. Come up over the crest of the hill, you see him slowing, and wow. That is not a ringing endorsement for iRacing's crash physics, but
oh man, that was. There's something going on. We saw it earlier with mines.
With the... Well, it's because we don't have the new damage model yet, and we need it so incredibly badly.
I've never seen something like that happen before. That was bizarre.
It's iRacing for you. Anyway, here's T. Galjeet, 9th place with a car with no hood on it.
Missing the hood on his machine. He's gone bunting him behind the 83 car trying to catch back up.
Sort of a lost race from the majority of the field. Remember, we invert the top 20, but don't the drivers have to be running at the end of the race to get the advantage of the invert?
No, they can't. They can't do that.
Okay, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
There goes Jonathan Rodriguez cutting turn 3. He'll have to give him some time.
He's been struggling a little bit, and he's going to fall back to 3rd and even 4th as Kirk Crumb's trying to track him down.
Look at all the smoke. It looks like it's cloudy or foggy.
I know. I really also feel like they should really turn the smoke off.
Hafner's around again at the exit of 5.
That's going to really put salt in the wounds.
And Kurt Crum on through again, going to bury him in the points if he keeps having a night like this.
Yeah, I was going to say, at this point, it's really just him kind of throwing away the night. Oh, and him behind. Okay, someone's just poured oil all over the racetrack at the moment. Guy's constantly going out.
Just ran his best lap and went around. It's a weird spot to crash, too.
Threw it in too hot.
Yeah, just got in already way out of shape. Right on board. Watch his hands.
I think he just
stepped out.
Yeah, I think he was just too aggressive on the brake. I think he threw it in there, or was too aggressive on the brakes, and the back end came around.
Well, it's been a wild one so far. Here's a fight for second. Kurt Crum in the 87 Bombshell car, the race 1 winner, right in behind the 27 of Rodriguez.
And Kurt Rum's going to do a happy song and dance here because he's looking at taking away second. Might not be able to get up completely to first because Caden Bin has been putting some solid pace. And then you see Snyder in the 333. He's just now come out of pit road, a lap car ahead of him.
Yeah, there's a lot of damaged cars getting back out on course to try to make up some positions here or there. I think most of the cars have come back down to get their reset, looks like. So I'll use it if you got it. Up at the front of the field, Caden Bin is now your leader. Rodriguez is in second, but now the fight is going to be for that P2 spot because it's Rodriguez Crum. In front of them is the 333.
I think Rodriguez, although he finishes his race, is looking at a solid top 5, potentially, if not top 10, definitely. All the cars that were involved in that. Now you see Kurt Crum in behind trying to get a draft. Snyder going to pull out of the way, not interfere.
Now a very long back straightaway here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and you're going to see the speed again climb on this car as we're at the top of 6th gear into the braking zone for 10A. Backs out, thinks better of it.
He was trying to force the 27 to make a mistake, but Rodriguez kept his line good through these corners. Kurt Crum going to have to try again.
Down the hill, 3.8 behind Caden Bin. Though Ben is still lapping quicker than Crum, a little wide at the exit of 12.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing in here. He has another look to the inside of turn 1. Trying to scare the 27 out.
Up to the top of the hill, line it up for the S's. And this is such a crucial part of the racetrack. This is where you can gain time all on your own. You don't need a draft, you don't need anything. You just need to get this part right, and you can gain a lot of time.
You see Kurt Crum making up that time through the later part of the S's, and
Rodriguez,
even there through turn 5. Great line from Kurt Crum. Going to pass him before they even get to turn 6.
Have that spot complete, and around goes Crum for 2nd spot. Caden Bin, 5 seconds up the road, making this look easy with 8.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And there are still battles in the lap part of the field. Odyssey Adams Jr. in the 22, and Michael Bolden in the 2. This is for position.
Yeah, these guys still actually on the lead lap. They got Caden Bin a little bit ways behind. I think I just saw Bin heading towards turn 10A in behind these guys, but just kind of duking you out, trying to pick up what spots they can.
Into the turn 1 braking zone, a little bit wide on entry for Bolden, but a little early for Odyssey Adams Jr. as they crest the hill.
Down into turn 3 now. Has to go behind the tree. I really wish I could make the camera smaller. That was the biggest trouble with setting up the camera here. There's too many trees.
Still a cool shot, but just depends on how you use it. You got a bad cameraman tonight too. Fire him. The exit in turn 5. The 2 cars are going to close up a little bit. This is the closest battle for position we have on the track. Bolden trying to set up a pass on his teammate, the other attrition racing cars.
A little bit hot into 7.
Again, the run onto the back straight here. Riding on board with the 2. Take a look at the speedo. Going to climb up into the 150s. And likely into the 160s.
Have a look. Potentially, no. He's going to keep it in behind the 22.
Not a really great opportunity there. You have to be kind of fully alongside. I'm not even convinced that you can really make a pass well on the inside of 10A. I'd actually rather be on driver's right to have the run out of 10B.
You really are going to want to be on that right side. We've seen a lot of drivers or just pitch guys to the apex of the corner. Bunting's come in. I think he's just been running around with damage.
He has been, yeah. So I was going to go back and look at replay. There's nothing to look at. T. Galgi and Morelli, both of these cars severely damaged. This is a fight for 8th, though.
Matter of survival. I mean, even if these guys really just lose time, they got really big gaps to the guys in behind. So looking at finishing the top 10 doesn't matter what order between them with their damaged race cars.
Thinking back to that lap 1 crash, that wasn't really any kind of car contact. That was just 2 or 3 drivers all simultaneously losing control in the same spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, the difficult thing with this car's effect, you can't lock down the tires. You have to do with the ABS, and they were trying to get these cars, stuck in behind, but as you're on the brakes, full brake, car's still rolling because the tires don't lock up. So they were rolling back into the field, unfortunately, out of their control. Yeah, that just collected so many other drivers.
That's one of the most frustrating things about driving GT3 cars is the aids are nice at speed, but as soon as you start to slide, you want that ABS to lock the tires down, and you don't have it, your tires just roll, and off into the grandstands you go. So
literally, for some of them. But yeah, I mean, really, in those situations, really the best thing you can do is really just turn the thing into the wall to try to keep it off the track, but obviously no one wants to do that. So
3-car fight for the attrition racing cars, the 000 of Terry Newmaster, Odyssey Adams Jr., and Michael Bolden all together as they enter one.
All of them playing it very conservative, looking for decent finishes in the midfield, all things considered.
Well, it's going to invert to give them a top 5 starting spot, so I'd be on board with where they're running right now.
And from Newmaster, it's 21 seconds to Jake Johansson in the 06 for 11, so got a massive ways to go. There's no way they can make that up in 5 minutes.
Things are closing up a little bit for 6th. There's Ben Shout, Johnny Bell in the 72, Teague Alge in the 13, and Nicholas Morelli in the 714. 4-way battle for a 6th spot.
And everyone's closing in on each other. Shout was the slowest, followed by Bell, Alge, and Morelli, the fastest of this 4-car group. There you actually see Alge having a look potentially on Bell in behind.
Morelli had a lot of pace tonight, but has not had the luck to go with it. At least not in the race number 2 so far. These cars are so stiffly sprung that they react very violently to any kind of undulations in the surface.
Whoa.
And up goes the 714 to the inside of Alge, all the way on top of the curb.
Yeah, that was
a little bit of a late dive there for me.
Yeah, I'll say that was very opportunistic for the 714
I'll
Morelli.
say optimistic as well. That was opportunistic and optimistic.
Optometristic.
Optometristic. I'm not an optimist. What's the word? I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optometrist. As we head down into 10A, here comes the 13 of Alge and let the 714 go around the outside, real tight with Johnny Bell in front of him.
Yeah, Bell slowed down quite a bit. That held up the other attrition racing car, and that's gonna potentially allow Alge to get a solid run. Not done yet. They're side by side.
Oh, they're gonna touch. Oh no, Alge's off.
off.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. He's definitely not gonna be happy with that.
That car is destroyed. That'll pretty much be the end of the race for him, I would imagine.
He might try to just limp it back around, considering how little time is left and how big the gaps are. But we'll replay again between these guys.
Yeah, a little bit of a hip check there, and off he went. And it's gonna watch the impact. Oh man, good thing the tires are there because that's concrete otherwise.
I think I was just gonna argue that he was run out of room there.
I think he was.
Couldn't really go much more left than that.
Yeah, and it's such a helpless feeling.
No way you can say that. So
and he'll come to a stop call today. Meanwhile, for 3rd, Rodriguez has Hefner. Oh, there he is, Hefner and Meintz closing back in. Remember where Meintz started all the way back, as you mentioned earlier, 24th. Here he is in 5th and looking for 3rd.
Yeah, he actually just got passed by Hefner recently. I saw Hefner was closing in on these guys. I didn't realize he was also close to 3rd as well. So, despite his spin, he's still gonna finish in the top 3. But again, you know what could have been a win for the 51.
Really aggressive lines through 12 to try to make up any time that they can. We have, as it stands, 10 drivers on the track who have not yet hit pit lane for one reason or another, but Rodriguez is full of the 51, at least in the mirror. Jump over the curb in 3, and now run down the hill.
He was really under attack by really 2 guys in behind, Hefner and Meintz. Both closing in on the 27 car.
Run down to turn 6. Oh, look at that. They're way late on the brakes. Look how much better he is getting the car stopped than the 27.
See both of them also coming slow on entry. We're going to get pretty solid runs off the corner now. And the 27's a sitting duck. These guys going to draft in behind him.
Here comes the slipstream for the 51 of Hefner. Going to take this run all the way to 10A, and he's going to have a look on driver's right. And if I'm the 27 of Rodriguez, that's the wrong line to defend. I wouldn't stay driver's left there. He's going to give the 51 the outside line, and Hefner should be able to complete this pass. Oh, he already does in the braking zone, so he's on through. Mike's going to get held up here slightly. Oh, there they touch. They're both going to get turned.
Oh.
That was an awkward moment there. It's one of those situations where there's just not enough space to dive to the inside.
There was space, but the internet decided otherwise. There's a massive amount of netcode through the corner.
Yeah, netcode here, netcode there. But There was a lot of space, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Well,
they started. There's a lot of netcode contact, and that sent the 27 back into Mainz.
yeah. Yeah, there might have been an inch had that not the netcode not grabbed him there. But either way, that was going to be tight. But you don't really know where you're. Again, the internet, the physics, that's how the world works. So that's the price we pay for the cars that look so planted in the track versus other sims. So.
For Mainz, at least he's back in 5th. Rodriguez back in. Let's not actually maintain their positions, just again due to how massive the gaps are between some of the other cars.
Well, Caden Bin has put a massive gap on Kurt Crum and continues to leave it there. This time through will be white flag for the 23. Over the crest of the hill, last lap around for Caden Bin to return to victory lane. He hasn't been here full time, but when he has been here, he's been fast. One more time around Road Atlanta.
Also, he'll finally be able to get into victory lane tonight. Was looking at like he would get a win in the last race. Unfortunately, had a spin, prevented him from getting there. Dumb trees.
That got a cool cinematic shot. You got to be patient with it. Whoa! Snap your neck as they come around to the bottom of turn 5 and into turn 6 and 7. That's a cool shot.
Yeah, that was
right
actually
there.
really cool.
Wow. Caden Bin putting on a show tonight by leaving everyone in the dust as they all came together at the exit of turn number 5. Tucks it in tidily into 7, and one last run on the back straight. After this race, we're not done yet. We'll take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back for race number 3, the final round of the night. It'll be a 20-minute race with the top 20 inverted. Thomas Cooper in the 584 is the driver in the catbird seat to pick up that starting position. He would share the front row with Brian Stone as it stands right now. Bin, final couple of corners through 10A, 10B, and the run up to 11. Pressing the hill does Caden Bin now down the other side. And Caden Bin, victorious again in SCRS Ferrari Challenge in 2020. Goes to victory lane at Road Atlanta.
And he's going to be a little ways back to Kurt Crum in the 87. There he comes out of the final corner. He will take 2nd place. Then Zach Hefner, despite his spin, is going to charge back up into 3rd place in his 51 car.
Let's cross the line and finishes.
I was curious if he's going to do cars and just sit at the line, let someone pass. I was curious who he was going to let pass, but here we see Mainz and Rodriguez. And Mainz was able to get back around the 27, so he's going to take 4th. Rodriguez in 5th.
Right behind him, that's Morelli in the 714. Shout, Bell, Shabelski, and Jake Johansson, the rest of your top 10. Here's a look at your race results before we line them up, re-rack them, or re-stack them for our 3rd and final race of the night in SCRS Ferrari Challenge round number 10. Thank you for joining us here on SimTV. In the meantime, make sure you check out the link in the video description for Penguin RC Simulations and browse their premium selection of beautiful sim racing hardware. We'll be back with you in 10 minutes for the start of race number 3.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defying feature, an old oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, oak tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak Tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although Oak Tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist. And the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land, for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Welcome back live to SCRS Ferrari Challenge, race number 3. It's time to go racing for the 20-minute feature event at the end of the night. Top 20 invert puts Christian Oss at the top of the board, Thomas Cooper in second, Brian Sohn in third, Finian lining up, ready to go racing. Taking a look at the weather here, it's a little bit cooler than it was, but we saw a lot of carnage at the exit of turn 5. Is that going to be different?
Hopefully. I kind of hope for the sake of the drivers that it's going to be a little bit different after that last wreck, last race, that big wreck in turn 1, or sorry, on lap 1 in turn 5. Took out pretty much half of the field out of contention for, you know, just the race in general. So hopefully we see it be a little bit cleaner, but again, with that big top 20 invert, you know, you got some really fast guys in the back of the field, some, you know, relatively slower drivers in the front. Yeah, so that could lead to some chaos. We'll have to see here how this race is going to play out. If it's anything to go by race 2, we could be in for a really interesting race.
So typically we see somebody that we're used to seeing win this third race, but I'm looking down the order, and the drivers that we're quote-unquote used to seeing, Kurt Crum, one of them in the 87 back in 19th, Caden Bin in the 23, T. Gallagher as we start kind of in the middle of all that, Eric Mickey will be back in 24th. I don't know who is going to win this race because I see nobody in the top 15 at least that I know can win this race. This is going to be a really chaotic start, and I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
It really is, and you know, again, depending on how much chaos ensues in behind, you know, some guys in the front that really could, you know, play a factor as to who potentially could win this race. Brian Sohn, honestly, he might be a solid contender. He seemed to be pretty fast and ran pretty well in the first few races. In race 1 in particular, race 2 didn't go as well for him. That's why he's starting up in third, but I think if his race 1 is to go by anything, he might have a shot here, potentially to win. Maybe even Christian Oss. It's been a while since we've seen him in victory lane.
And we know he's quick. He's won races before in SCRS Ferrari Challenge, but Brian Sohn, I like that pick. He starts P3. He's been fast tonight. I think the goal is just to make it through lap number 1, because we saw a huge portion of the field last race not able to do that. And wasn't Brian Sohn one of the ones that was involved in it as well?
Yes.
So that's why he's starting where he is. So gotta learn something and not do what you just did in race 1, because if you do it again, it's over. No more resets, no more nothing now. When you get this is the end of the night, last chance to earn points. So onto the back straightaway now. We'll check deeper in the field. Odyssey Adams Jr.'s had some pace in recent weeks. He'll start in 10th. Drew Lidke in 7th. I think we mentioned him a little while ago. I don't hate the idea of the 21 car getting a victory lane here. I think he's got a pretty good chance.
Yeah, definitely. We did see some mistakes of this 21 machine up Lidke, so, you know, in race, was it the last race that he got punted out in turn 6? Or was that race 1?
I don't remember, but it was one of the 2 races tonight, so there's a lot going on in a lot of different races. Probably race 1, because I don't think anybody lived through race 2.
That's very fair.
So now down the hill towards 10A, 10B. And Christian Oss is going to choose the inside lane, as is standard here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Up the hill towards turn 11 and 12, and we're going to turn them loose. 20 minutes at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta Ferrari Challenge, round 10. Green flag flies, racing again for 20 minutes in the final race of the night. Oh, car off the background. That's the 19 of Jim Benson. He's already in the wall. And a big stack up as they head into turn number 1. So far, so good. Oss leads the way into 3.
Yeah, and down into turn 3 for the first time. This is going to be tricky. Guys still side by side, especially in the back, with drivers trying to make up some spots. There you see that can come on through, and it looks like everyone's made it through the beginning of the S's. Now down to turn 5.
They're 3 wide in the middle of it. That ain't going to work. Darwin Mites in the middle. They touch, and there he goes. Oh, hard impact there at the exit. There they go. Another car, an attrition machine off. Steve Bunting's in the wall.
Yeah, but he's off the track. It looks like everyone else is going to make it on through, so we avoid a massive incident like we saw in race 2 and continue onwards.
And Oss is free and clear. Brian Sohn into 2nd place, but a couple drivers already having issues early. Back in 3rd, Thomas Cooper.
And how about Robert Retrain, the 33, sitting in 5th? He might have a shot of winning a race. He's currently the highest scored pro driver.
Yeah, he's actually one of the drivers that I kind of slept on. Didn't even see him inside the top 10. This is going to be a great opportunity for him to steal a race win here.
I've seen him struggle tonight, though. Oh, as you see the 2 up ahead of him, Michael Bolden off the track. I think even Cooper did as well.
Behind him, Caden Bin was one of the drivers involved. And Johnny Bell runs way wide. More carnage and crashing. Michael Bolden at the top of the hill. This is in turn 11. Bad spot to be stopped.
I think this is just a lot of guys that either have damage or just miss turn 10A.
Real dicey into turn 1. We mentioned Brian Soane's gone to the lead. Where is our leader gone?
Christian Ost, he's fallen all the way back down the order. He's gone off in turn 1.
Oh. And a chance for him to win a race has quickly dwindled. And down the order he will fall. Brian Soane to the lead now.
Soane, Rattray, Lidke, Snyder, and Johansson, your top, Jake Johansson, your top 5.
So now Robert Rattray is licking his lips, and for Brian Soane, he better run because we know how quick that 33 can be. Trouble behind him. Kurt Crum is in the wall at the bottom of turn 5. It is Hefner in the 51. These two have tangled several times before, and the 66 in front of them. And then Hefner bobbled and catches the 87, and more cars involved. The 13 of Teague Algae.
Yeah, well, this one was definitely not like the previous two close
definitely
between
not.
them. The outside factors involved, but unfortunate for both those drivers.
Christian Ost makes his way back up to 11th. Justin Johansson was one of the drivers involved in that collision. Eric Mickey is up to 10th, right in front of this battle for P11.
Ost trying to get a draft and build up a run to the inside. Deep dive for Christian Ost.
Brian Soane leads by 0.6 of a second. I'm not sure that he has the pace to hold off Rattray, but he's going to give it everything he's got. Rattray last time was about a second quicker.
Yeah, he's putting in some really solid lap times in that 33 machine. Even Lidke is also keeping some decent pace with Rattray as well.
Isaac Snyder in 4th place. That's a good run for him so far. Down the hill, hard into the brakes for turn 5. Big jump over the inside curb for the outside for Rattray. Car spinning, it's Ost again.
Not been a good night for the 157. What looked really promising is not looking like that anymore. He's going to drop down the order to 16th by the time he gets back going. Caden Binmual in the 23. He's working his way all the way up into 9th. There's Eric Mickey around.
Turn
5 is turn 5.
And these guys run baseline every week, and you have to wonder that if this is why when you run into a VRS race or a GT3 race in iRacing, you don't run the baseline set because it's sprung very stiffly. And the springs do not like the exit of turn number 5 with all the bumps out there.
Yeah, it's a really poor combination for a track where you pretty much have to take the curbs really solidly in every corner, especially turn 5, which is where we've seen probably the most incidents throughout the night.
For the lead, top 3, Soane, Rattray, Lidke throw a blanket over them as they come across the line. Behind them, how about Terry Newmaster, Caden Bin, nose to tail as they head down the hill towards turn 12. Cross the line, Bin up the inside.
Up the inside, almost into the other opposite side grass of the track, and there you see now the 23 dive up the inside, take the spot from Newmaster.
Brian Soane needs to run away. 15 minutes to go. He's only in 5 minutes. He's going to feel like this is going to take him 3 hours to finish out this race. Rattray hard into 5, and a good run for Lidke behind him. Maybe those two will fight and let Soane drive away.
I think that's what Soane is hoping for at this point. Just kind of hoping these two guys start fighting with each other. He can potentially break away. See Lidke big dive into 6.
Caden Bin around, turn 5 exit.
Oh man, another one bites the dust.
See how the rubber collecting on corner exit there.
There's more rubber out of that corner than any other place on the track.
That system's working great too, isn't it? But look at Soane pulling away now. Rattray was a little bit distracted by the 21 car, and that has solidly put Drew Lidke within the reach of Rattray's draft. I think Soane needs these two to fight because look at how much he gains in the braking zones.
Yeah, I think Soane is definitely, as far as raw pace concerned, is definitely at a disadvantage compared to the two guys in behind him. So he's just hoping they continue to battle or get distracted in behind, and then he can try to drive away with this. It's gonna be a long 15 minutes for him.
Up the hill now towards turn number 3. 14 minutes left to go on the board. Soane a little bit wide in 2, tucks it in tight, misses the apex there a little bit farther than Rattray did. But Rattray hasn't been able to get up alongside yet. You have to wonder, getting there is one thing, but passing's a whole other.
Big gain into turn 5 on the curve.
See in the mirror the 21 car hanging out on that video display, and into turn 6 now. It goes Rattray trying to tighten it up and have a run onto the back straight. Nice and tidy.
Really good line through 7 as well.
And a little bit wide, caught the exit curb, which is going to slow him up slightly.
And here comes comes with a run on the back of the 03.
Oh yeah, this is
gonna be prime spot for passing for the 33. We'll see what Son can do to defend.
Yeah, he's gonna stay driver's right. I like that move. Stay on driver's right, make him pass on the inside. Rattray down to the brakes. He might have him clear. He will. Son lets him on by.
Being called by Son to let him by. He could have definitely contested with that. I think he figured might as well maybe try to get back in second. I think he might try to just ride off the draft of the 33, so we'll see how this plays out as Rattray takes the lead. We see a shout around this out of turn 5.
Again, same spot. We've seen a bunch of accidents here tonight. Hefner trying to work back on by Thomas Cooper in the 584.
Look, where's Kirk Crum? Kirk Crum only back at 18. There's a Hefner in 12th. So there's a chance for Hefner to make up some points. Make up valuable points he lost out earlier in the night.
Working our way towards halfway through this race in about a lap and a half here. Hefner, oh, that was a weirdly timed dive. Had nowhere to go with it on the 584. Crossover, cross under, maybe at the exit of turn 3.
Trying to get around Cooper, but Cooper is staying in the middle of the track and defending that position fairly well after his guys trying to find some way around the 584.
Try to nail that inside curve, get a good run. Look at the run he has now as he heads towards turn 6 and 7. He's on the wrong side of the track, though, to get this done.
See if we can try to outbrake Cooper. Indeed, he is by quite a bit. Side by side, going to pinch Cooper down to the apex.
Let him have it here. Oh, no, he's going to dive back up the inside. He wants it back.
That was a poor exit for both of them because they're side by side, but it looks like Hefner's going to get a better run off the corner and take the spot for now.
He had a good run. That's a hard pass to complete on the outside of 6 and 7, but he has done it. 11 minutes and 50 to go. And Brian Son is on second spot on the grid right now. Lidke back in third. Isaac Snyder having a good night in fourth. And Jake Johansson sitting out in P5. 6 seconds back to Odyssey Adams Jr. in the 22.
Yeah, effectively, if anything, our leads come down to between 5 drivers. Effectively 2 at the moment between Rattray and Son. Here's Steve Lidke can try to work around the 0-3 to try to chase back Robert Rattray.
Corner exit for the 0-3. A decent run, but Lidke's going to have to keep him honest.
Yeah, you can see, too, for Son, even through the exit of the S's there, that's where a lot of his other competitors have been making up time on him. He just hasn't been as aggressive as they are.
On the back straight, Rattray pulling away. Last time through was 4/10 quicker. This is a great chance to snag his victory at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. He's been kind of hanging out in the top 15, top 10 tonight. Hasn't been able to run for a win until now, and he's got the chance to just drive away into the sunset here at this racetrack. But behind him, battle is going to increase in intensity throughout the rest of the night.
A little over 10 minutes left in the race, pretty much halfway through. But the drivers Rattray begins to break away from the rest of these guys. Lidke, a great run through turn 1, nowhere to go through turn 2 and 3. Tries to have a look, but Son cuts him off.
Oh, that's a shallow entry into 3. Nowhere to go down there. When you apex that turn that tight, you really mess up your line through the S's. He's to lose 5-6 car lengths as he heads down the hill now. Going to close it all up in 5. Son being pretty conservative through. I don't think he wants to make the same mistake that others have so far in this corner.
And here's the interesting thing. So far out of this race, Lidke set the fastest time amongst our top 5. Last lap through specifically, Rattray had the fastest lap, but Lidke not too far off.
Yeah, I think if Lidke were able to get through Son, he might be able to run down Rattray, but that would involve him running his best lap every lap for the next couple of rounds because Robert Rattray just ran his best. It was a 1:19.8, and it was the quickest lap of anybody last time by. So he's going to continue to stretch his lead out now. 1.1 seconds just on the outer edge of draft, and he's soon to lead these two to fight for second.
And speaking of fighting, and behind them, Snyder and Johansson, they're starting to get out for 4th in their own little battle.
Snyder's done an excellent job in this race. Started in 8th up to 4th and continues to try to climb up. Ran quicker than Lidke last time through with a 1:20.1. Actually would put him second quickest of the front 5. Bobble for Sohn, but Lidke still unable to find a way around, and Sohn's defensive driving with the 21 has been really solid.
And I think Lidke really is trying to prioritize maybe the exit of 5. I think that's where Sohn's been the weakest.
He's being cautious through there, and for good reason. We've seen so many drivers go off. It doesn't look like Sohn's using all the curb on the inside or the outside because he doesn't want to jump that bump and get himself off track. So I like being conservative, but you're right. That's where Lidke has to kind of go for the guzzle. What's the word I'm looking for?
Go for the throat?
Go for the jugular. The guzzle. Go for the guzzle. Long back straightaway for Lidke. The draft is helping him. He might have a look if he can just sail it down into 10A, and he will.
Definitely will. Wow, and Sohn's going to let him.
Yeah, I think Sohn isn't really willing to go in there side by side with somebody. We've seen that be a trouble spot for too many cars tonight. Thomas Cooper and Eric Mickey. This is for 12th spot. Mickey on through.
Running around, and also next driver ahead of Mickey Hefner, and Hefner now closing in on Bolden. Sorry, Bolden's actually closing in on Newcastle.
Sometimes you get a little off with the reading which number is to which car, but again, very tight fight for 9th spot as they head down turn number 12. Nothing changed at the front of the field. 7.5 minutes to go. 5 laps to go next time by for leader Robert Rattray. He has a 1.5 second lead as we watch 9th place. Really good run up to turn 3, but again, can't really make a pass into here unless you're already established on the driver's right side of the racetrack.
You have to pretty much be side by side coming out of turn 1 and very much alongside to have it even shot at making a dive.
Slip up for Rattray, brought Lidke right into the mix.
Yeah, Lidke's well within draft range now, so he's very much in the fight and has some time to work with as well. We're talking about Lidke being a threat. Very much so now in the later parts of this race, as Rattray has not been able to drive away. A bit surprisingly, too. I would have thought that Rattray would have had enough pace to drive away from the rest of this pack, but just hasn't done so. You think that he might be taking it too easy?
I don't think there's such thing as too easy. We've seen so much attrition tonight in terms of over-driving, especially at the exit of 5. I don't think there's such thing as too easy. Just keep it on the track between the guardrails. That's the important part tonight. And Road Atlanta doesn't really have much in the way of guardrails. They're concrete walls. They're a little bit less forgiving when you get into them here.
Poor exit out of 3 for Rattray, got a little bit sideways, and Lidke nailing his corners.
6 minutes to go, and Lidke is all over Rattray. And now that the pressure that Rattray is feeling now might cause him to make more mistakes. Look at that right there, dragging a wheel off at the exit of 5 on that access road there. That's a dangerous place to drop a wheel.
All Lidke's got to do is just stay fairly close to Rattray. Wait for this straightaway here as they come out of turn 7.
I see a big understeer there for the 21. Rattray has been getting a pretty solid run through there. Behind, I see the background, Isaac Snyder's got a rear mirror full of Jake Johansson's 06.
Yeah, this has been kind of maintaining that gap. He hasn't really closed in that much on Snyder as much as I would have thought. Battle for 4th has been kind of brewing, but nothing's been done as of late.
Lidke is really solid on the brakes. There is some lap traffic up ahead. Let's see what car that is. Looks like it's been Shout 66 as they come down the hill. Cross the line, 5 minutes to go. Make it 4 laps. Actually, this is, yes, 4 laps to go this time through. See all your top 5 in that camera shot. Sohn is right behind if anything goes wrong for these front 2. Rattray seems to be a lot better at this first sector. Lidke's better from really the entry to 10 all the way through turn 1. Then Rattray seems to gap him a little bit. Look at the gain there for the 21. Too wide!
Way offline. Wow, he got lucky. I thought he was going to go off into the tire barrier. He was so far out wide, but was able to narrowly keep it on the track. But also keep it straight, too, which is even more important through there.
Corner exit, bit of a slide there for the 21.
He's been a bit too aggressive, I think, charging that corner, and we're seeing him result in a lot of understeer on exit.
That corner gives you nothing for overdriving it. It's one of those corners that feels so slow because you have to wool it way down and get it pointed and shot straight out of the corner. Because you charge that corner, there's nothing to gain.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you're setting up for this straightaway, so it doesn't matter how quickly you get through it. It really is just a matter of what your exit speed on as you're coming out of it, because then that's going to determine your run. down the straight. I think that's where Lidke's been failing to kind of capitalize on being in behind the 33 Rattray. So this gap's been kind of maintained here, so Lidke's got to start coming up with something here to get the 33. He's starting to run out of time with 3 laps to go.
Up the hill with 3 minutes and 36 seconds to go. 0.7 of a second between the race leaders. How about Isaac Snyder and Johansson? 0.3 between them. Even behind him, Terry Newmaster in the 000 as they head up towards the S's area here.
Yeah, and actually, it's a big battle. It's Newmaster, Bolden, Hefner, and Mickey. 4 cars all duking it out for 9th place.
Come through the trees here in Braselton, Georgia. As they come, oh, there they go. There's some contact there, and Bolden's off. I was hoping they'd come through the trees at the right time, but here's a look. Would have been a nice artistic shot. He just got loose on the brakes. Smacked the fence.
The trees don't care about your artistic necessities.
Apparently not. I don't speak to the trees. Lidke, again, messing up turn 7. That's going to hurt him in this race. He's going to have 2 laps to go, and he's got to get that turn 7 right, because Rattray is nailing it every lap, and it's costing Lidke a chance at a win.
Barron through turn 10A, but went way wide in 10B.
Yeah, that's gonna be it, I think, unless Rattray makes another mistake.
Lap
that was
car
too
ahead.
It's too crucial to get that right. And Snyder wide at 11. That puts Jake Johansson on through to 4th. Lidke up the inside of the lapper. A 1.5 seconds behind now as they head up the hill for the 14th lap. And actually, we slowed down a little bit. That gave us another one. So we are actually on schedule, or not. I think the timing is...
it's confused.
It's very confused. Our estimated lap kind of bounces around a little bit right now. Rattray a little loose. Lidke closed up huge through that corner. Look at the run he has now. All that mistake that he made a lap ago, about half of it, pulled away with that one little slip up.
He's
going to
be hoping that we get another lap, because I don't think he's going to be quite able to, push to get back to Rattray in time to make a pass. And then again, he's just been really struggling in this corner.
So we're 48 seconds in. I don't think we're going to have another lap. I think it's going to be white flag next time by. Yeah. I think the timing and scoring is just very, very confused right now. It needs to call a tutor.
It's very opportunistic.
Optometristic?
Yeah.
As they head into 10A, Rattray, Lidke nose to tail.
It's definitely going to be white flag here as they come through turn 11 now. So for Lidke, he's got to make a move now. Got one more lap to do it.
12 corners left for Robert Rattray to snag a victory at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. It's a 0.6 of a second gap, and for Lidke, he needs to be perfect. And when I say perfect, that means no mistakes, and same for Rattray. Rattray a little bit cautious into 3. Lidke closes up. He's a lot more aggressive right now, but it's all going to come down to, I think, 5. 5 and 7, the 2 most important corners for me right now. A little tight for Lidke here. Rattray going to be a little bit cautious. Misses the apex slightly. Lidke is close enough to have a look as long as he hits turn 7 right.
He's got to hit it. He's been missing the mark the last few laps on through, so right on board with him and look from the top.
Here we go. This is the most crucial corner. Lidke charges in. That time it was a little better, still slow, but better. He'll have a 0.4 of a second gap to close. This might be enough.
It's going to be his only shot here. The run down to turn 10A.
That's a far distance to make up. I don't think he's going to have it unless Rattray makes a mistake into 10A or 10B. 2 corners left, 1 chicane, and a downhill. Lidke takes a look to driver's left, going to try to sail it on in, close the gap as much as he can. A half a car length back, 2 corners, turn 11. Here they come up the hill. Checkered flag waving for Robert Rattray. Lidke, not enough. And Robert Rattray will take it home as the sun sets in Braselton, Georgia.
And Lidke going to be so close, but yet so far going to have to settle for second. Sohn in third, Johansson in fourth, Jake Johansson in fourth, Isaac Snyder in fifth. Reese Adams, I think, is still heading towards the start-finish line. Yeah,
that was a podium for Jake Johansson. Actually, it was Brian Sohn that got podium in the 03 Penguin RC Simulations car. Strong effort by him as we take a look at the unofficial results. Scroll on through there as a look. Sohn on the podium, Johansson, Snyder, Odyssey Adams Jr. in the 22, then Justin Johansson, Shabelski, Hefner, and Eric Mickey. Pros only 3 of the top 10 spots. A poor showing for them in the third race.
They had a very rough night, to say the least. Granted, not entirely due to their own accord. Well, at least in the incident between Kirk Crum and Hefner. For Caden Bin, you see back in 23rd. just spun. And for the second time tonight, even for Effner too, he had 2 spins earlier. It's not really a race I think some of these guys will be looking fondly back at.
All right, we're going to jump to break for just a minute. We'll be right back with your podium finishers from this race. Let's mix it up a little bit tonight. We'll do top 3 from this race. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back live to SimTV and SCRS Ferrari Challenge, round number 10 of 2020. Here now with Drew Lidke, the driver of the number 21 Can-Am machine. Drew, race number 3 went really well for you, closing in on Robert and Trey in those final laps, but couldn't quite get there. Walk us through those last few laps.
Hey, Kyle. Yeah, long time no speak. It's nice to be back. There was a couple of corners. Robert was faster. For some reason, at turn 7, he could always gain a few tenths coming out of there. And that's really where I needed to try and be closest so I could pass him going down into whatever it is near the end, the bottom of the hill, 14 or 10. First 2 races were complete mess, bad luck, whatever you want to call it. But last race was fun. It was good to finally get fighting for an overall podium again.
It was a really good run in Road Atlanta for the final round of the night, but I want to know about next week at Lime Rock Park. That's a track that is a lot smaller, there's a lot less room for air, and the elbows are going to be out there. How do you think you're going to run there next week at Lime Rock?
It's going to, exactly as you said, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a bit of a circus. If we get, which I hope we do, such a good turnout like we did tonight, it's really just going to be a matter of being patient and hoping luck rolls on your side.
Hey, Drew, congratulations. A really solid run tonight. Second place, 3 tenths back from Rattray. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. We got now to race winner Robert Rattray in the number 33 car. And sorry to pull you from your conversation there, Robert. But, hey, you won the race by 3 tenths of a second. A lot of slicing and dicing there with the 21 towards the end of the race. A mistake for him, a mistake for you. But ultimately, you came out on top. Walk us through those last couple laps.
Yeah, I had a nasty snap on my first race, and so I was just trying to stay away from the edges of the track. And I saw Drew, and then of course, you come down the hill at Atlanta, and anytime that thing can bounce on you, and you can go all over the place. Well, I tried to save it there, and I managed to stay ahead of him for that lap, and then I saw him do it about 2 laps later. So I just nursed it to the end.
Next week, we head to Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, and that's a very small bullring-style road course. It's going to be elbows out. We saw some incidents and a lot of attrition here in the back tonight. How are you expecting to take on Lime Rock, and do you have to be more careful than lucky at Lime Rock Park?
It's passing is going to be next to impossible. I mean, down the inside at turn 1, that's about it. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be, I assume that the really fast guys are going to be probably a half second ahead at that track. So, but normally what happens up front is somebody tries to take somebody and it ends up taking 3 or 4 people off. So I think 4th or 5th is a good place to be going into the first race.
Hey, Robert, nice running tonight. A race win for you in race number 3. We'll see you next week at Lime Rock.
Thanks, Kyle. See ya.
And Brian Stone, the Penguin RC Simulation 03, comes back for a podium at Road Atlanta. It had a lot of pace tonight, a really solid run for you in that 03 team. Walk us through the chase, and they were trying to drive away from Robert Rattray and Lidke before they caught you.
Well, I was just trying to stay on track and be as clean as possible because this track with the new tire model is kind of a little bit of a handful. If you get a little bit off track, you can go for a wild ride pretty easily with it. Just touch the dirt a tiny bit and the back end's coming out from you, under you. So it was quite a handful. I knew that Robert was quicker than I was. I did not know how much quicker Drew might have been. And they kind of bided their time until they got a good run on me. And then when I saw it, I was like, I'm not going to try and block it because it's just, I know they're going to eventually get by me anyway, you know? So I didn't want to like destroy both our races at the same time.
It was a really solid run for you this week. We head to Lime Rock Park next week. That's a little tiny racetrack that's going to be very elbows out, is how I always describe it. Your thoughts on how you think you'll do next week, and how do you avoid the chaos and carnage that is sure to ensue in the later races that night?
Hopefully be up front like I was this week to avoid the carnage. I didn't quite avoid the carnage in the second race. Just got barely clipped by Christian as he spun, and it took me out, and I went for a wild ride on that one. But Lime Rock is a very tight, fast racetrack. It's going to be the first time I'll ever drive the chicane version, which is the newer version of the track. So we'll see how that goes. Should be some fun racing though. Everybody's used to that track from coming up through the ranks, so it's going to probably be some pretty tight competition.
Tight competition in Atlanta, tight competition in Connecticut next week. Brian, thanks so much for talking. Congrats on a podium. We'll see you at Lime Rock.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Absolutely. With that's going to be the end of the broadcast tonight. Finney had to run off to do a practice for his own league, so we're going to end things out here. If you want to watch more Sim TV, well, tomorrow night, it looks like we're going to be off for the most part. Saturday, we'll be back with the Hoosier SCCA Esports Super Tour from the international, what do they call it? The National Park of Speed out there in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And then Saturday night will be a Roval and Charlotte Oval doubleheader with the Cup cars with the Outsider Racing League. Sunday, lots of action. SRO America GT Rivals from Spa-Francorchamps. And then at the end of the night, we'll have an Indy 500 full distance for the Coca-Cola of Kokomo, the Elite Series. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later. Have a wonderful night.